Zoom, and today's topic is threat modeling training. And I know that in any training, you don't acquire the expertise in one class. So I want to assume that this should be a kickoff journey for you to acquire more mastery, should you want to continue knowing more about threat modeling. But before we start, I would like to share a little about our association so that for those who probably are not member, we can have an understanding of who we are, what we do, and how we contribute to the development of cybersecurity in Nigeria and globally as well. Okay. So CSEAN is a non-profit organization made up of information security professionals centered on collective purpose. Are we all seeing my screen? Yeah, you are free to talk now. Are you seeing my screen? You can unmute and answer, please.
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So you can mute back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's okay. So center on collective purpose and vision to be a vehicle championing the cause and awareness of information security best practices, acting as an agent of change to address cyber crime phenomena through engaging intellectual minds, business, and the political leaders. As cybersecurity protagonists, we look to hold healthy debates to expand the audience's knowledge, awareness, and understanding of the issues around cybercrime. Through workshops and seminars such as these, okay, we wish to share knowledge and grow the information security industry in the country, whilst creating youth forums to breed future generation of information security professionals. Also to hold broader discussion with government officials on issues of tackling cybercrime. When you hear youth here, you might want to wonder, my beard is white. I'm still a young man. Okay, so build about season out in bullet point. We build and develop professional network. That is, some of us who are members, we have professionals and we have networks. We exchange ideas. We ask questions. What kind of software do you think is good for this? What kind of technology do you think? And in a forum such as our WhatsApp, a lot of people have benefited from asking questions and getting professional answers. So that's one of the benefits of being a member. Then this kind of season organized conferences, we've been doing conferences for some years now. We're supposed to be doing this year conference in June, but because of this COVID-19, it's been put on hold. So in the conference, a lot of people come from different parts of the country, even beyond Nigeria. Last year conference in Abuja, we have Minister of Communication, Mr. Lawal Shitu, Mr. Shitu, Mr. President, what's his name? Shitu. He was there in our midst, and we also have some people from central bank, from banks. One of our meetup we had in Lagos last year. We have FBI staff in Nigeria in attendance. We have CISO of some banks. So this kind of organization is where I think people should love to be. Then professional and educational development program exclusive for members. Then we participate in the international cybersecurity event. Last year, one of our members went to represent us in one conference in the USA, and she was happy she attended. We are also happy that we have our delegates talking about cybersecurity in Nigeria from this organization. To me, it's an organization. It's an organization I am happy I'm a member, and I will be happy to be a member even beyond now. Then we also have we have advanced the profession of information security, give back to society in form of cybersecurity awareness, develop the next generation of cybersecurity professionals in Nigeria, proudly use the association seal and logo. If you are a member, if you have a business that is into IT, or you are free to put your logo on your retired paper, on you can even wear the lapel on your suit. So these are the kind of things that make our members proud of being a member. So, okay, yeah. So you might want to ask, if you want to be a member, from what category would you want to join? So We have students, so if you are a student and you want to be a member, we have category for you. Athlete is the person who is not a computer savvy, but want to be a member. You can come as an athlete. Associate, those starting their IT career afresh. Then professional, who have engaged in reasonable years of experience within ICT's, IT security fields. Then we have fellow professionals who have been in leadership position as cybersecurity, as a manager, executive, or CISO. So these are the kind of the categories we have. So you might want to ask, who is this person talking? My name is Olabode, and my surname is Agola. Presently, I am the Director of Training and Education in this association. And presently, I am a Group ICT Manager at Amazon Energy Group. I am a UK trained cybersecurity expert, and I have passion for governance, risk, and compliance. So I will be starting the threat modeling proper now after a brief introduction of the association and myself. Threats. What is threat? Threat is anything, any event, any action that has the potential or capacity to cause serious harm to computer and information system. Before I progress, let me also say it right now that this engagement session, we have both theory and practical. So for those of you who want to see the practical aspect of it, don't be discouraged that what you are seeing now is not practical. As we progress, at some point, I'll be showing you live, using live software to do threat model, and you'll be seeing the result of the threats that are inherent in some devices or technology that I will be showing that I'll be modeling in the software. So a threat is something that may or may not occur, but possesses the potential to cause recoverable damage or loss. Vulnerability, there is no how you talk about threat without mentioning vulnerability and risk. So I want to nip it at the board now to talk about these three before we progress fully into the threat modeling. Vulnerability is a loophole or weakness which can be exploited by threat actors. Oftentimes, threat actors are attackers. There must be a vulnerability before they can perform unauthorized actions within the computer system. This explains that there is no any successful attack without a vulnerability being exploited. Vulnerability is a loophole, is a weakness, is that thing that could open door for the attacker or that could get the system compromised. So it's different from threat and it's different from risk. Risk is the potential for loss, potential for damage or destruction of an asset as a result of a threat exploiting a vulnerability. So mathematically, if you want to quantify a risk, you do so by multiplying the value of the threat with a vulnerability. Risk on its own is a different field that has its own different volume of knowledge, body of knowledge. So I cannot, talk extensively on risk today, because if I do that, I will have derailed from the real topic before us. So, but I want to hope that very soon we are going to talk about risk over this same forum very soon. Yeah. So threat modeling now. Threat modeling is a process by which potential threat, such as structural vulnerabilities or the absence of appropriate safeguards, can be identified, classified, and mitigated by prioritization. Prioritization comes in because it is possible to have volumes of threat, to have some bucket full of threats. So at this point, you want to actually ask yourself, which one are you attending to? Let me give you an example. If I am the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer of e-commerce business organization, whereby every second, thousands, if not millions of people buying and selling things online. And if I do a threat modeling of our network infrastructure, and I realize that I've got maybe one denial of service, and I have maybe elevation of privilege, several of them, and I have maybe spoofing several of them. I want to ask myself, which one poses more risk to me? Then I will actually look at attending to that denial of service first, because I can't, stand having our portal being down for 1 second. That could interpret to losing millions in 1 second. So that is why prioritization comes in threat modeling. So I will show you when we progress the importance of prioritization. The classification can be done using CIA tried. Some of us might have come across CIA tried. CIA means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. For every threat, is either affecting confidentiality of digital assets, or affecting integrity of our digital assets, or affecting availability of digital assets. The example I painted not quite long about e-commerce having been attacked by denial of service, that is availability issue. So when there is a threat that takes off availability, or that takes off the reach of a site from the users, then that's availability. Then the expanded version of CIA tried is CIAN. What is added here is authenticity and non-repudiation. Authenticity is actually confirming the originality of the source by ensuring that the source is authentic, is not fake. Then non-repudiation is not denying that it is sent, or not denying that it's accepted. So if information that is received by you could later be denied that it is not sent by the person you think it has sent it, then that's a non-repudiation issue. Okay, so I will progress again. So our classification uses tried in threat modeling. Microsoft has come up with this classification using tried, and tried simply means, S of tried means spoof, T means tampering, R means repudiation, I means information disclosure, D means denial of service, and E means elevation of privilege. So for every threat, it is either it comes in form of spoofing, in form of tampering, in form of repudiation, or it comes in multiple forms. So whenever you see threat modeling tools, such as the one I want to use to teach you practically, is going to arrange all the identified threats as either a spoofing threat, or a tampering threat, or repudiation threat, or information disclosure threat, or denial of service threat. An example of spoofing is hack victims email and used to send message in name of victims. For instance, if I hack your email and I send an email to your friend or to your bank claiming that it is you, then that means that you have been spoofed. Tampering means software execution file is tampered by hackers. Let me give you an example of tampering. If the value of my balance in my account is 10 million naira, and I could have access either by quick or miss into the database of my bank, and I increase it to 20 million naira, I have tampered the content of that database. The repudiation means if somebody sent me a mail and I read that the mail is from my bank, and my bank denies that they didn't send the mail, that's repudiation. Sorry. Information disclosure is credit and information available on the internet. Many of us might have heard, or maybe you haven't heard at all, that there's what is called dark web. Dark web is a web that is visited by people who have criminal intention, hackers, and a lot of illicit trade, illicit activities take place there. That is where you see all these fraudsters able to buy people's personal identifiable information. That's why you see people having the credit card details of some people. Some people actually knows how to do social engineering on the innocent citizen without knowing them. Innocent citizen will disclose their banking details without knowing that the person behind the phone, the other side, is actually conducting social engineering on them. So all these vested card details are sold in the dark web. So when you have information that's supposed to be confidential, when you have it available in the public domain, that's information disclosure. Even in the midst of this COVID-19, there have been some attack that the kind of data privacy breach, whereby the medical data of some patients were available everywhere on the internet, and some of the patients were even asked to pay, or else more information will be disclosed on the social media or on the internet. So don't let me spend too much time on that. Then evaluation of privilege is if when an attacker attack a system and start performing the roles of admin on the system, that means that he has elevated his privilege from ordinary user to admin, and that's dangerous. So that's how Microsoft classify Stride. Okay, so if you have questions, like I said, please note it down. When I get to the end, you can ask your question. Okay, so I'll be progressing. At this moment, we've just spent 16 minutes and we have actually progressed tangibly. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the tools for running threat modeling. We are beginning the practical session now, gradually. Okay, now, so Microsoft threat modeling, before we go into the tool, we are going to talk about what is called SDL, SDLC, and DFD. So Microsoft development lifecycle, Microsoft believes that security development is supposed to have a starting point, supposed to have some point where progresses will have been made, supposed to have the conclusion part. Okay? Yeah, so that is what is called development lifecycle. And most of the software developers nowadays, they have integrated SDL into their own software development lifecycle. So it's an engineering technique. It's an engineering technique you can use to identify threats, attacks, and vulnerability, and countermeasures that will affect your application. This can also be used to model threat in network topology. Originally, this threat modeling software from Microsoft was developed for developers to model the threats in their project. But oftentimes, people have seen that it has shown capacity, but not as full as it could be, capacity in modeling threats in network topology. So the examples I'm going to have, there are going to be two case studies in this training. One of them focuses on software development, the other one focuses on the network topology. So my MS threat modeling tool uses data flow diagram. I don't know whether you've come across it before. It's a combination of symbols for representing flow of data and information about the output and input of each entity and the process itself. I've given you a very small example here, which is ATM system data flow. For every ATM, data flows from one point to another point to another point until you have your cash dispensed. Number one is from the machine itself, data flow, and data flow from the machine to your bank server. You put in your card, the machine reads your card details, and to authenticate if you have the access to use the card, machine asks for your PIN. The card details and the PIN are submitted to this database server of your bank, and the bank also replies back to the machine and says, I know this guy and the PIN is correct. And at that point, if the PIN is not correct, you are going to see a comment on the screen that incorrect PIN. So if the PIN is correct, data flows again to put in the amount you want to withdraw. This same is also passed to the server to check if the balance is there or not. If it's there, it comes back again. And if there is a balance that's sufficient for what you want to withdraw, then the money is dispensed. So this is the simple data flow from the ATM user, ATM itself, the bank, and the dispensing part of the ATM machine. But there are some also data flow that is not captured there. For instance, for every ATM machine, there is a network behind it, maybe a router or that's actually a network device that is behind it. So, but for the sake of this class, let's just leave it at this point. So I'll be moving to the next slide. So installing MS threat modeling tool it's as simple as installing other software. If you ask me, it's very simple. There's no any rocket science in it. So follow this step below, visit these websites, then click on download, then select the third option. There are three options. For me, as a learner, I would advise you to download all the three, because the remaining two are documentations that actually explain how the software works. But for you, if you want to save your space on the disk, I think you can learn without reading up. Then you can just download the software itself, which is the third option. Okay. So I'm going to move to the next slide. So I assume that the software is downloaded and installed, and you are launching the software. This is the landing page you will see when you launch the software. The first aspect is called threat model, which is create a model, open a model, or getting started. The second pane below, excuse me, is create template or open a template. So I'm going to dwell more on create a model in this class, because we are learning. So once you've been able to create a model, you save the model, you can open the model later to edit or to run to see how many threads you've got in your design. Okay. So this is a case study that we will be dealing with now. We are going to use the same software to do a threat model on this network topology. And the case study is Oxygen International. Though I changed the E there to 3 because I wouldn't know if there's any company actually called Oxygen. So I don't want to. So contracted you to run a threat model on their network. The network diagram below is given to you as a case study. And the task before you is to run a threat model to identify any possible threats, use a table to rank all the threats, columns to include in the table number 1, serial number, the identified threat itself, then the classification of the threat using stride that I've just taught you, then the property, is it confidentiality, is it integrity, then the priority, is it a high, is it a low, or is it medium? So once you've been able to have the result of all the threats coming from the software, you pick each threat one by one and arrange them in the table and do a stride, do a classification using stride, then do a classification using property, then do a priority. So before we go into running the software to design this, to simulate this topology, it is also good that we understand what is called system decomposition. Now, this decomposition simply means breaking into reasonable units. Our scope, which is this diagram, has now been broken down into this simple units. And in the course of doing system decomposition, the idea is for you to have a granular understanding of the scope to the minute part of the scope. And at times, you might need to actually get more information by reviewing the configuration database, or by getting the documentation, or by reviewing the drawing or some diagrams that will give you in-depth knowledge of the scope you are working on. So from this topology, I can see that we have server. If you look at here, you will see a server machine here. Okay, this server machine, we have SQL and web application running on this server. So then the server itself, after we have decomposed, we realize that it's running OS called Server 2012, and that server 2012 is running IIS web server and running Microsoft SQL. Then from the diagram also, we have router model 2960. We also have switch model 3850. Then we also have wireless access point. We have telephone system. We have laptops, probably desktop are there too. Then we also have tabletop phone that is being powered by via PABX. So, and we also have the internet coming from their ISP. They also have a cloud drive for their backup. So all these things are now arranged in tables. So the OS in the suite in the router is release 12.1, Cisco iOS release 12.1. The one on the switch is the same OS. And the router,
hello, sorry. I think someone raised a hand. Maybe they want to ask.
Okay, please, yeah, please. At this point, maybe the question is burning. Please ask a question, please. Hello, who has a question to ask? Nobody. I could see that we are 28 now in the.
I think I saw Akindele erased his hand. Maybe it was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Maybe he joined probably when we mentioned the ground rule. It's okay. Let me retrace again. Sorry for those who are just joining. Please, you can note your question down, and then after the class, you can ask the question, and I will be able to answer the question. Okay. It's okay. So I can see a chat. Somebody tried to ask question from the chat. Let me see. Okay. Okay. The person is just appreciating my. Okay. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. We'll talk later about it. So now back to the class. So all these drawing are now translated into this table, and we also have a wireless access point. So now I will unshare to now bring up the software itself to for the threat modeling. Okay, so I'm going to unshare now. Then I will share my screen that has the threat modeling software itself. Okay. Where's share? Okay. Where's the software? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we can all see my screen now. Okay. Intermittently, I'll be juggling between the software and the PowerPoint so that I can align myself with what the task ahead of me. Yeah, so this is how the threat modeling software looks like. Here we have file, new model, open a model, save as, apply template, threat model information. I'm going to use only this threat model information in this training because I've already clicked on new model. That is why you are seeing this blank screen here. Then in edit, we have undo, cut, copy, and paste. Then view, we have analysis view, zoom in, zoom out, stencil. Okay, but I'm going to go to this right pane here. Here we have stencils. Let me collapse all the stencils so that I can see them in the category. We have generic process category. We have generic external interactor. We have generic data store. We have generic data flow. We have generic trust line boundary. We have generic trust border boundary. Then we have free text annotation. Okay. Now, based on the task before us, I know there is a server, so I will come here and I will choose OS process. You have to drag it to the drawing board. So I am trying to replicate the topology here by having what is in the diagram. I want to replicate it here by using the object and the stencil in this software. So I know there is Windows 2012 in Windows Server 2012. So I'm going to type. When I drop the OS process, I come to the element properties where we have the name. I come here to rename it to Windows Server 2012. Okay. So the reason why you need to do a proper naming is because this software has a database built into it, and every technology, every device that is represented in this drawing, it goes to that database to search the known threat for that technology or device, and it's going to show you as a result. So the getting it right starts from proper naming and proper selection of stencils that are here. So now you know very well that this Windows Server is the one that the SQL will run on. So I will now go into data structure, so data store, sorry, and I pick SQL database, I drag it, and I put it here. Okay. So the question you want to ask yourself is, how do I connect these two together? Okay. Then I'm going to go to what is called generic data flow. Then you will see HTTP data flow, HTTPS binary. Since this SQL is actually inside of the server, that means that there is a binary communication between the SQL and the server. That is binary, all these activities that happen between the operating system and the server is just in binary form. We all know that because we have computer background. So I'm going to connect the two of them together using binary connection. So for every object you drop in your drawing space, there must be two connectors. You agree with me that there must be front and back communication, or else communication in computer is not monotony, it's like dialogue. So you have to do, at the bottom here, do you see message, no issue found? You need to watch out for this place, because if there is any issue here, your child model system will not run. So for me to complete the communication between this SQL server and this OS, I need to do the second leg of communication, and they must not go the same direction. So I have to ensure that the arrow this time goes this side, and it doesn't matter which of the dots it touches, but it must touch the dot. You are free to also go to the element property and name this your connector properly if you want. But to me, I want to leave it there. But binary is simple and it's binary. Now I have represented SQL that is in the drawing in our topology with this, and I've also represented Windows Server here. Then I also realized that there is ISS running in this Windows Server, and ISS is also an element of OS. So I will go to OS process and drop my ISS anywhere I like. But I would advise that you concentrate your drawing that relates to themselves in one position, so that you don't cross, what I mean by crossing is not a sin, and it does not mean that your system will not run, but for neatness and for professional drawing, you need to ensure that all these connectors are not crossing themselves. If you can avoid that, fine. If you can't, no problem about that. I also know that the communication that transpire between a server and ISS is also binary, because they are all together inside one machine. So I'm going to also connect them with the binary connector, okay? So I'm going to take binary here, and I'm going to ensure I join it to the same server, okay? I'm going to do second leg. Remember I told you that the two legs must be there, and they must not face the same direction, okay? So I have actually created a computer now by saying the computer is a server, there is SQL running on it, there is OS running on it. So I need to rename this one to IIS server, because that is what the threat modeling software will use to search for vulnerabilities that is known for this IIS server. Okay, now I will stop the screen again, and I will share the presentation again for us to see the drawing again to understand what I'm doing. Okay, so now I have been able to create this server, and I've been able to say this server has SQL and OS on it. So now I want to create this computer, and I want to actually, in doing so, the computer and the server will communicate through wireless access point, because nobody runs cable from computer to all the server. So we all know how it works in our simple network topology. So I'm going to stop this screen again and go back to the same software we are using. Okay, so I'm going to create a computer somewhere here. Computer actually is nothing. When we say computer in threat modeling, we are talking about operating system. Okay, so the computer is running Windows 10. So I'm going to come here and rename it to Windows 10. Okay, now, so this computer actually needs to communicate to a wireless access point. So I'm going to put the computer here so that I can put wireless access point somewhere here. So wireless access points, let's look for a stencil that can either closely or adequately talk about wireless access points. For here, I'm not going to use thread. I won't use native. I won't use. I'm going to use. Let me see what I can use. Okay, I'm going to use OS process, and I will explain why. Because the wireless access point itself also has OS running on it. So I'm going to use this one as the wireless access point. So, and I'm going to call it TP-Link running, so that's running model TWA901ND. So this is the model in the design we got in the table I showed you before. So that means that what is going to be connected between this computer and this wireless access point will not be a binary. It's going to be TCP/IP protocol. So I'm going to pick IPsec here, which is the closest, and I'm going to do the two connection. Remember that there must be two connectors to any device. Okay. So now I'm going to bring the second leg of it. I'm going to connect it here, then here. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to rename this one to TCP/IP. Okay. TCP/IP, and this one also to TCP/IP. Like I told you, naming them appropriately will give TWA2 the basic information it requires to help you find out which threat exists in your design. Okay, I'm also going to connect this server to the same wireless access point. Okay, so that means that the computer can reach the server via the access point, which is normal in any setting. Okay, and I'm going to also do the second leg, which is like this. Okay, yeah. I'm going to TCP/IP. Okay, so I have adequately created a computer that communicates with the server through TCP/IP. Okay, so I'll move this TCP/IP up here, and I will tell you why. Because this TCP/IP also need to take to enable these computers access internet. So I'm going to put the router here, and I'm going to put the switches somewhere here, so that the ISP that is going to feed us data will also be this here, so that I can have them connected here. So I'm going to go and create OS process for Cisco iOS 12.2. So I'm going to put my switch here, okay, and I'm going to put my router here, okay. So here I'm going to put my router. I'm going to name it Cisco iOS 12.2. So let me put router so that I can Cisco router iOS 12.2. This one will be Cisco switch 12.2. Sorry, Cisco switch 12.2. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to also do a router for my ISP. Okay. So I need to create two different network segments because my ISP is not in the same segment with us. So also we are different networks. So we are going to go to trust boundary. We are going to choose corporation network trust boundary. So here I will drop it here to say that this is a different network belonging to my ISP. Okay, so I will bring the Cisco down here. Okay, and I'm also going to do different ones belonging to Oxygen Limited. Okay, so this is to let the terminal software knows that you are working with two different network segments. And it's not compulsory, but the more information you give to this software, the more it's able to help you model the threat that could come to haunt you later. So I'm going to rename this guy to Oxygen Network, okay? Because this is a Oxygen Network. And I will rename this ISP to CSEAN ISP. Okay, I hope we'll become ISP one day. CSEAN ISP, okay? Yeah, so now the connector, most ISP connect to you via microwave radio or fiber, but the protocol is just TCP/IP oftentimes. So I'm going to also do that connector with using IPsec, which is the closest to TCP/IP. I hope that Microsoft will upgrade their software to capture a lot of things, so I don't have to be looking at the one that is the closest. Okay, this is version 2016, and that is the latest version for now. They've not released another version, so so I'm going to change this one to TCP/IP. TCP/IP, and I'm going to change this one again to TCP/IP. Yeah. TCP/IP. Okay. Now, the ISP has given us internet that I think it should actually be router to router, not to switch. So I'm going to change the order of, but let me rename this one to ISP. Okay, let me also call it Cisco router 12.2. So this one I will change it to router. Okay. And this one I will change it to I'll change this one to switch. Okay, so now from ISP router via microwave radio or via what's it called, fiber, the network is extended to Oxygen network, and from there the TCP/IP protocol also extend to this switch. Okay, remember I told you that every object must be connected in dual form, and the arrow must face opposite direction, or else the system will generate error. Let me show you one thing now. Look at this side down. You see one issue formed. It's because this connector is not yet dotted where it's supposed to be. So that is why, as soon as I drop it and I click somewhere away, it's supposed to go up. Brilliant, that's gone off. So now I think I need to bring this my wireless down, because I can access my switch can connect to it from here. So the switch and the wireless access point and the switch we connected to the same TCP/IP. Okay, I remember I've not renamed the IPsec to TCP/IP for this switch and router, so I'm going to do that any moment from now. Okay, so I have it this way. Okay, so let me space it so that I can look neat. So I'm going to change this one to TCP/IP, and change this one to TCP/IP. Okay, I'm going to rename this one also to TCP/IP. TCP/IP. This one also to TCP/IP. TCP/IP. So if you don't mind, I'm going to unshare now. I'm going to stop sharing. I want to go back to the drawing to see where we have covered and what is next to cover. Okay. So I'm going to share the drawing with us again. Now, okay, we have already taken care of the ISP side, the server side, then the router and switches, then it remains the printer, the mobile phone, and the Avaya PABX. Okay, so we are going to look at that now, via PABX. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this one now and go back to the design. Okay. Okay, yeah. So because our switch is because our what's it called? Our wireless access point is here. So I'm going to put the PABS this side, and I'm going to put the phone also there. Then I'm going to put the Android and iOS phone this side as well, so that they can all have space to connect to the our wireless access point. So Avaya PABX is also running OS because oftentimes what is attacked oftentimes is the other OS or software running in the machine, not machine itself. That is why this technology is built this way to focus more on OS rather than the machine itself. So I'm going to put Avaya IPX here. Then I'm going to put Android OS here, and I'm going to put iOS for iPhone here. So so all of them can connect to the same access point. So this one will be iOS version 9, for instance. iOS 9. This one will also be Android 9, for instance. Android 9, version 9, for instance. So now it's for me to connect. So you remember that they're going to connect wirelessly. So that's also TCP/IP. So I'm going to go to my data flow and also pick IPsec, which is the closest to TCP/IP. Okay, so like I told you, it doesn't matter which of the dots you connect to. Ensure you connect to a dot and ensure there's not any issue. So I'm going to ensure this arrow goes up here because they have to go different direction, like I said. So I'm going to rename them to TCP/IP. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to rename it to TCP/IP. Why is it not giving me? Okay, yeah, TCP/IP. So I'm going to do the same for the Android. Let me create space for Android to come. Okay, so I'm going to do IPsec. Okay, start to connect to any of the dots. It doesn't matter which dot it connects to. Let's just connect. The other leg of the connector must face other direction, or else you won't get it. The system will throw error. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to use. I'm going to rename it to TCP/IP, and this one also rename to TCP/IP. We are almost done with the drawing because every technology or device that is on our diagram has already been represented here, except I don't know. I will go again to go and check to see if there's anything left out. Yeah, I think it remains via tabletop phone, but for the sake of time, that one I will leave it out because we are still going to do threat modeling for software development. This is just for network topology. So, and I'm still going to also show us how to do ranking of these threats using a simple Excel table. Okay. So TCP/IP. Now at this point, you are advised to save, but me, I won't save because I think I have some issue yesterday after saving. The system crashed. I don't want it to crash today, but to save is here. So here is where you need to do a labeling of this design. Okay, here the design is called Oxygen Network. Okay. And the owner of design is Olabode, and the contributor is Remain, for instance. So once you are done, all this one they don't really matter. So you can just close it. It has already been part of it. So now the question now is, after us this design, show me the threats. Show me the threats. That's what I know is going on in the mind of all of you. So now I will come to reports. And I'll click create full report. Then you can also choose create custom report. The custom report gives you opportunity to choose which of the threads has got its own inbuilt mitigation. Because some threads, this software has ability to suggest mitigations, but I can tell you that from my experience, it has never helped me up to 2%. Oftentimes, mitigation comes from different approach. So I don't really go into choosing create custom report. But if you want the report to be generated whereby you want to see only those that have, for instance now, when you say not started, needs investigation. So you can uncheck this one so that it's going to only give you the thread that conforms to your selection here. So I won't go into that. I will choose report and I will choose create full report. I need to let you know that the report is going to be displayed in your default web browser. Default web browser. While I was preparing for this class, I had a lot of issue with generating report, and I can share it with you. I think it's not compatible with Edge browser, and I think it's not compatible with Chrome. So use Internet Explorer. That is why I have to go and install Internet Explorer, and I made it my default browser. So your default browser, it is from where the report will come out from. So now I'm going to click generate report. Then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it CSEAN 2020 April. Okay. So I click save. Then choose your appropriate folder. I put it in this folder. Then I click save. Then automatically it's going to give me the report in the browser. So you can't see my browser. So I'm going to unshare so that I can show you my browser now to see that the report has come up on the browser. Okay, where's my browser? I'm looking for my browser. Please, a minute. Is it this one? A minute, please. A minute, please. No. Yeah, so this is my browser. So you could see that it was created on 25th of April at 3:51 p.m. in the afternoon, and it was created for Oxygen Network. And Olabode is the owner, Remy is the contributor. So you could see that there are 32 threads that have not started. Started what? That this system has not started mitigating. So 0 no applicable, 0 need investigation, 0 implementation, 0 mitigation implemented. So total is 32. So the same drawing we have in the software as appeared there based on the way you did it. Okay. So it's going to break them into section by section. The section where Windows Server 2012 and SQL are connected is telling you that there is a threat, and the threat is called information disclosure. And the description is that improper data protection of SQL data can allow an attacker to read information not intended for disclosure. Review authorization setting. It's telling you that you need to ensure that authorization, which is a strong password, and is required to mitigate this threat. So the software itself did not provide any mitigation. That is why you don't see anyone here. For this same section here, the second threat is spoofing. The SQL database may be spoofed by an attacker, and this may lead to incorrect data delivered to Windows Server 2012. So that uses standard authentication mechanism by identifying the source data store. So this is another threat, and they go on and on and on. This one is denial of service. So does Windows Server 2012 or SQL database take explicit steps to control resource consumption? That is to say, if an attacker is exploiting you by what is called sync flood attack, which can be done by some software, some attacker can use sync flood attack by sending different millions of packets to your network at the same time. So that threat is also possible in this topology. So you can see that at this point, there are a lot of them, up to 32. So because of time, I won't be able to talk about them one by one, but I'm going to I'm going to make contribution open now. So anybody who wants to talk now should raise his hand up, then we'll be able to grant the person the floor to talk. So thanks for listening. Let me hear your question, and I will try as much as possible to explain. After the few minutes of question, we will now go to the second part of this training, which is the software threat modeling. This one we did now is for network topology threat modeling. Thank you. Let's hear your question. Any question?
Yes, I have a question. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Please, your name before question. Your name first.
Okay, I'm Princess Mrs. Suche.
Oh, Madam, you are the one.
Yes, thank you. How are you?
Madam, please, before you talk, let me introduce you to the people here. This is the former ISACA President Port Harcourt branch, and she was one of the, let me stop there. Madam, welcome, and God bless you. Go ahead with your question.
Okay, I noticed there's an error message. How should it be resolved on the diagram?
Okay. In the next class, I'm going to deliberately create an error, and I'm going to, in the next session of this class, I'm going to show you how to clear the error. When you double click on that error message, it's going to highlight which of the objects the error is domiciled. And from there, you'll be able to clear the error.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Second question. Another question?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me, Mr. Magbola?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, hi. My name is Nogama. Just a quick question about this Microsoft threat modeling tool. Is it free, or
yes.
is it like a
100% free?
Oh, okay. That's brilliant. So we can just download and use as at will.
Yeah, it is free. So when I started the class, I show the link you can use to download the software, and I will show it again for those of you who are just coming in now. The software is free actually, and you can download the software from using this link here. Where is it? Okay, so if you go to microsoft.com/en-us, you download details, you will see it's free of charge, and it's about 4.0 MB. It's not heavy. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question, please? Any other question, please? Okay, so I want to assume that we all understand the threat modeling and we understand how we translated the. Okay, somebody want to talk? Hello. Okay, so if nobody is talking, maybe we want to mute our mic for the moment. Yeah. So like I said, I want to appreciate the fact that we all follow and we know how to translate a network topology or a simple Excel table into a design such as this that we just do threat modeling on. So I will be going to the next, before I'll go to the next slide. Sorry, yeah, next slide, and that will show us. Okay, so the next slide. This, when I was doing my rehearsal, this is the design I have, and it's different from your own. But you can never have the same design at the same time. So, but what matters most, like I said, is that ensure every technology, every device that is present in your topology, in your network design, is adequately dropped in your design space in the threat modeling, and ensure they have proper connection. Because these are the things that Microsoft will use, the tool we use to extract out the known threat for those devices or those technologies. So yeah, so I'm going to go into the table that I'm going to quickly run. Okay, let me leave the table. Let me just follow this class, the PowerPoint slide the way it is. So this is the second case study, and I think I should be able to finish this one in the next 15 to 10 minutes, okay? So, and this software is a software development company. They have a contract to develop a web application for fleet management system. That application should have a mobile system interface. Both web and mobile system interface will be at the back end. So both web and mobile system interact with the same back end. That is, this software can run on Windows, can run on iOS, can run on Android. That's the meaning, okay? So now, like the task is run a threat modeling to identify any possible threats, use the table to rank all the threats, columns to include serial number, threat, stride, property, and priority, okay? Then, like I told you, it is proper to do your system decomposition for you to have a good understanding of what you've got in your scope, okay? So here we have desktop OS, which is running Windows 10. We have server OS, which is running Windows 2012. We have Android, we have iOS, we have database MS SQL. Then we have Microsoft C# 2018. We have interface HTTP, interface HTTPS, we have binary, and we have third-party system. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go into the tool again to design this scope following the details in the decomposition I just shared. Okay, I'm going into this is the software. I'm going to share it now. So I'm going to clear off all these ones. So for those of you who are for the madam, the question, I'm going to address it now for you to see how to correct error whenever any error occurs. As usual, I know that there are OS, so I'm going to go to the generic process. I'm going to drop my usual Windows 2012, okay, Windows Server 2012, okay. And I know that I'm going to also drop Windows 2010 somewhere here, okay, Windows 2010. Windows 10, don't mind me, Windows 10. Okay, now, and I know that Windows 10, that is where people use, Windows 10 people run their browser. So I'm going to go into what is called generic external interactor. Here, I will pick a browser, I'll put it here, okay? Then I'm going to pick human user as well, because human too can have vulnerability, okay? So here, I'm going to link the human to the browser and link the human to the Windows, okay, I'm going to link the human to Windows 10 because Windows browser is actually part of the OS. So once I've linked the browser with the OS, the user can use the browser from the OS. So I'm going to go into the generic data flow, and I'm going to pick HTTP, okay, as the, okay, so madam, at this point now, there's one, okay, you said no issue. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to simulate an issue for you to see how to resolve the issue, okay? So here, it's say one issue found. Can you see it? Okay, so you say no issue, that's strange. Okay, I'm going to, don't worry, I'm going to create an issue so that we can see how to resolve the issue, okay? So I'm going to connect this browser HTTP. So that means that the user can also browse on secure sites, can also browse both secure sites. So you need to ensure both, all of us know the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. HTTPS means it's a secured site. That means that the data that is transmitting on HTTPS are not, they are not a plain text data. They are already encrypted before they are sent. Okay, so I make these two arrows to, okay, I want to make these two arrows to focus the same direction so that it can generate an error. Okay, you say one issue found. Can you see that now? One issue found. So you say no issue. That's strange, but that should have, don't worry, at the point of running the software, it's going to generate the issue. But let me correct it here so that, okay, let me see that I'm going to see this issue. Okay, so one issue found. So you will see a table that shows the issue. So you double click on that issue, on that error. When you double click, it's going to select where the error is. Now, nothing is selected now in the drawing. Can you see that nothing is selected? Everything is, so but if you double click on this error, it's going to select where the error is. So it's showing that, I don't know, this is strange, but oftentimes when you double click that error message here, it's going to tell you where the error is. Okay, fine. I think click, just ensure something, at least something is selected, something. So if you double click on that error message, it's going to take you to where the error is. Let me clear, is this selected? I want to clear it first. I'm going to base that any space, when you double click which error, you double click the error message at the foot of this software, it's going to automatically select that object that the error is. So from there, you will know that, and it's going to tell you what the error is. Like the other one we saw now, I said an object needs to connect to two objects. So I will continue with my design. Okay, so I'm going to link, I'm going to go again to the design to understand what I have done so far and what is left to do. So I'm going to stop it and share the PowerPoint again to see what we've done and what is not done yet. Okay, so we've created Windows 10, and we've created HTTPS and HTTP interface, and now it remains Android and database and C#. Okay, so I'm going to unshare now, so that I can go into the software itself. Okay, so if you look very well, Android needs to connect to the system through a network. So I'm going to choose an OS object here to create Android and iOS. This is Android, let's say 10, if there is anyone, I'm not sure. Okay, I think let me just type the one I'm sure of. I know there's Android. Now, I'm not an Android, I don't really keep version of OS in mind like our young generation guys do. Once I have the phone is working, I think I'm fine. Then iOS 9 again. Okay. Now, so this Windows server is supposed to run a web server. So I'm going to come here and look for a web server. There's a web server here. So I'm going to put it here. That means that this web server and the browser, they need to communicate through either HTTP or HTTPS. So I'm going to go for my interactor, which is connector, data flow, and pick HTTP. I want to ensure that for every connection that is through internet, I pick both HTTP and HTTPS, because you never can tell if what you're accessing is secured or not. So you need to let the software give you exact threats you might be facing, irrespective of the sites you are visiting. So I'm going to choose HTTP and HTTPS so that it can give me exact, because the more you cover yourself from your doctor, the more you make it difficult for him to treat you. So you need to let the doctor know exactly how you are feeling. So whatever question he asks is for your own good to give the correct answer, because you need to get appropriate medication for your. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, sir.
Please, who is Josh 4C? That guy is supposed to be removed immediately. Josh 4C. President, please let me remove Josh JO5HC4C. He's showing some stupid picture, and I think it needs to be removed.
Okay, I didn't even see that.
Also, please tell Abdullah Yahya that we can see that his camera is on and he's only wearing boxers.
Yes, that's why I say. That's why I say he's wearing boxers and his camera is on. It could be deliberate, and it's not deliberate. We need to remove him immediately. Okay.
Is it Josh Fossey?
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
Abdullah Yahya.
Okay, what was Josh Fossey showing?
No, I think that's that he's showing himself in a boxer somewhere in his house. So we need to, and he's not wearing shirts.
Okay, maybe he didn't know he put himself on.
It's okay. It's
video.
okay. So
let's give him benefit of doubt.
Okay. Okay.
And, did you mention Abdullah? What happened to Abdullah? Is it?
Someone the same person that was wearing boxers and was showing everything.
All right. Okay, I think it's maybe he didn't know. Let's give him benefit of doubt. It's remove his video. So if he does show again, we'll just. I think people should just switch off their video. And
so I'll be progressing. Okay. So I hope you are all seeing my screen. Yeah. Okay, so I have done the HTTPS connection part of this iOS. Sorry, I'm supposed to connect iOS to the web browser, not to Android, please. Sorry, it's my mistake. Yeah, because two of them needs to use the browser on their phone to access the web server. So, and I'm going to also, because the web browser itself is not running independently, it runs inside an OS. So, and it's going to run in Windows Server. So that's going to be binary connection. So I'm going to connect the web server and the server together. Okay. So I hope you understand what informed my selection of specific connector. It's just about what to think is going to happen over those connectivity. If you have a web server running inside Windows Server, you know very well that everything is inside the same box. It is binary to binary. That is why I choose binary for this operation. And if you have an Android phone that has a browser, maybe Safari or Mozilla or Edge, for every site it visits through HTTPS or HTTP. So that is why I put HTTP here, so that we can have an adequate representation of every technology, every device that is needed in the scope of modeling you are doing. Anything you miss out will not give you adequate threat model, and you might not be able to have a good understanding of threats that exist in the scope of job you are doing. So I want to connect these two together, and then that will be through a kind of HTTP connection as well. So or HTTPS, because the software that we are modeling is going to run on a different server somewhere. So this computer also needs to connect to that server through HTTP or HTTPS. So I'm going to start with HTTP. I'm going to put the HTTPS there. So HTTPS here. here. Okay. So I'm going to also do HTTPS. So let me bring it down here so that I can have access to it from this side too. So HTTPS. Okay, I'm going to delete this guy. At times, when it's not responding the way you want to delete and go back to it again later. Okay, so this is one leg of the HTTPS, and this is the second leg of the HTTPS. Okay, it's going to face different direction. So now at this point, I think I am done with the design, but I'm going to go into the case study to convince myself that I am done with the design. Then we'll now run. Okay, so I'm going to unshare. I'm going to stop sharing. Then I'm going to share our case study in the PowerPoint. So we've already had Windows 10, Windows 2012. So it remains SQL and C#. Okay, so we're going to go back there and figure out where that would be in the design. So I'm going to stop sharing this one now, so I can share the tool itself. Okay. So I know very well that the C# and the SQL will be installed in Windows Server, because they are the one that web server is going to be the back end of the web server. So I'm going to put a managed application. I'm going to look for a stencil that can adequately represent C#. C# on .NET framework. So I'm going to look on maybe web application. That's fine. So good. We have an adequate. So I can name it. I can just put C#. Let me put .NET framework, because .NET is certainly a framework that Microsoft's development software write down. So I'm going to put .NET 3.5. I'm sure of that, because I think I used to write programs sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to also look for SQL. This time around, I'm going to use maybe Oracle SQL. This time around, data store. I put SQL database. I'm going to put Oracle here. So I'm going to change this into Oracle. I'm going to call it Oracle SQL database. Okay. So the two of them are actually installed in this Windows server. So they're going to be binary connection to the server, because they are actually inside the machine that runs Windows 2012. So I'm going to look for data flow. I'm going to pick binary connection. So I'm going to connect this .NET framework to Windows Server. The second leg of it, remember I said there must be two legs to every object you drop in your design space. Okay, I'm going to do for the Oracle Server now. Okay, and I'm going to put it here. Okay, and I'm going to drop the second leg of it, which is going to come up. Sorry, I hope I'm not messing this up. Okay, I'm going to put it here. Okay, I'm going to shoot this one up. So at this point now, I have successfully covered every technology, every device that is in the scope of work before me. And at the bottom here, I can see no issue formed. That means I have to go and label it, so that when the report comes out, it's going to come out more professional. So, which is not actually, it's not compulsory, but I think it's good to label it. So I'm going to call it Andy Soft Sys. That's the name of the company. And I'm CDO, and the reviewer is, let me call John is the reviewer this time around. And I close it, and I go to run it. And in the course of running, it will ask me to give it a name. So I will give it, let me call it Andy threats.
I think we missed one of your this thing. You got muted and you were talking. We couldn't hear you. Maybe you have to.
Yes. Sorry, my phone was ringing, and so what I was saying is that normally once you have clicked generate report and you have given a name to it, it stores the result as HTML file. Even if the modeling tool is not running, at any point in time, you can still go to it and double click, go to open in your default browser. And if you want to even share your report with your client, if you are doing it as a contract, you can also attach the HTML in your soft report. They can also double click themselves and see which threats they have in their system that you are contacted to model for them. So now the same analysis, we are going to look at how much of threat we got, 28. So we have information disclosure. It said between Windows Server and Oracle, it said improper data protection of Oracle data can allow an attacker to read information not intended for disclosure. So that's number one. Number two, Oracle SQL may be spoofed. Then that's number three, denial of service. Number four is SQL injection, that's tampering. Discover that for every threat that this tool is able to identify, it gave you the category. Look at this one now, it's called denial of service. This one is called tampering. So that is how the tool works, and that's how simple it is to use. And the good thing is that it's very free. So if you are into developing a software or a company is doing that, we can help them, or your organization help them do the threat model before they go so far, so that from the design stage, they are able to understand the threat that exists in their project. They can quickly put mitigation control in place. So that is the end of the practical session of this class. So I'm going to stop the sharing to go back to the PowerPoint to show how the table can be used to do the threats. So, okay. So look, this is a sample table that I developed to show you to use to gather all your threats together in a professional manner. Whenever, for instance, this one is called improper data protection of MS SQL, and that is information disclosure. That's why I put I here. And for the property, that's confidentiality, and priority is I. Let me also go back to the let me unshare again and go back to sorry. Let me unshare again and go back to the browser to see what you see that here. Can you see my screen now? You see here, you see priority I. That is, the tool itself is able to tell you that this is a high priority. If you must do anything instantly, don't leave this one out. That is the meaning of priority. All this priority, confidentiality, integrity, they enables you prioritize, because when you have 28, at times you can have 100, 200 threats. So you might be confused that which one would you want to attend to first. So in that situation, you will be able to look at which one is, how do you want to assign priority? Is it based, look at what I have here. I said, hold on a minute, please. I said threat ranking could be based on many factors and what constitutes high risk. This is absolutely the call of the cybersecurity expert doing the threat modeling. What would you consider high priority? Are you going to consider denial of service if you operate in an e-commerce industry as high priority or not? It's your call. Are you going to consider? Excuse me, please. Let me ensure that my laptop is charging properly. So I'm back. So are you going to consider information disclosure as high priority if you are working in hospital? Like I said, it's your call. Are you going to consider elevation of privilege as high priority if you are working in fintech? Like I said, it's your call. So all these are actually there for us to understand what should we attend to first. So that is why threat ranking is important for prioritization. So at this point, I want to think that I have come to the end of the class. So I want to see, okay, sorry, let me share again. I want to think that I'm at the end of the class now. So we have opportunity to ask question now if you have got any question. So this is question and answer. So at this point, we can ask question and then I'll be able to answer. If there's no question, then I can just summarize the class and the president will give a closing remark.
I think Nasiru Baba may raise his hand, so you can, Nasiru, you can crack on with your question.
Yeah, just a quick one. Is it that the software the tool doesn't actually provide justification or any mitigation suggestions because it seems like the things that it normally detects are generic, but there is no mitigation or justification, but it just says no justification or no mitigation. Thank you.
Yes, the answer is yes. And I will tell you what I think is the reason. First of all, I think Microsoft is trying not to own up to any mitigation they recommend. Then second of all, this tool is just for threat modeling, and some mitigation will come, some of the results come with mitigation. Like I told you from my experience over 4 years now, it has always been 2% mitigation recommendation. It is left to me to now look at the result of this threat and identify how to put control in place to mitigate them. So my answer to your question is yes. Oftentimes, many times, if I can say, this tool will not give you mitigation. It's just for you to model your threat, to know which threat you've got, and find a way to put control in place.
So I think Alexandra Arinze want to ask a question.
Okay, my question is in printing your output from the application, must it be the file that is the file must it be saved as you are doing it? I want to just ask to be sure.
Mr. Alexander, there was a time your voice was not clear, probably because of network. Do you want to repeat the question, please?
No problem. I said, must my output HDR as you are doing it? Because I want to know if there can be any other way, like you can print your output apart from it being HTML.
I don't think so. It's defaulted to I think the Outlook comes as HTML. That is the way the tool is developed. You can't have it as MS Word. From HTML, you can take it to MS Word if you want, or to PowerPoint, but the generic format the output comes out is HTML.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I think Izochukwu raised his hand as well. Izochukwu, do you want to ask your question?
Izochukwu is one of our Port Harcourt members who has not obtained form. So, Izochukwu, welcome to this training. I think now you're making up your mind to get form now.
All right, I think I'm not sure. Maybe it got knocked off, so you can send the question later on. So, Mr. Olabode, is there anything else? If there's
No, nothing more. So if no more questions, then the president, you can round it up for us. Then we'll call it a day.
All right. Thank you very much for the presentation.